On the first day, I began by saying talking about why I like to share folk tales. And that is, of course, for the truth they tell, how they tell that truth, and the journey they take us on while getting at the truth. And the story I'll share this morning is a folk tale, and I am going to take some liberty. I particularly like this version. It is based on an original folk tale about why frogs and snakes don't get along together. But I like this version by Mr. Ashley Bryan that's found in a book called Beat the Story Drum Pum Pum. Many of you will be familiar with Ashley Bryan's work. He died a couple of years ago in 2022 at the age of 98. But I tell this story for a particular reason, and I kind of mash it up with a couple of other little stories, and you'll get it along the way. Now, Mama Frog had a son, and Mama Snake had a son also. And one morning, both children went out to play. Mama Snake called some advice to her boy before he went on his way. She said, "Snake son, beware of big things with sharp claws and teeth that gnaw. Don't get lost in the bush and be back to the burrow before dark." Snake's son went on his way singing a little song. He sang, "Claws and gnaws, beware of the claws and gnaws." Y'all sing it one time with me. Claws and gnaws, beware of the claws and gnaws. Mama Frog had some advice for her son too. And she said, "Frog child, beware of things that peck or bite. Don't fight, don't go into the bush alone, and be back home before night." Frog Child went on his way, also singing his song. He sang, "Peck or bite, beware of the peck or bite." Come on, y'all. Peck or bite, beware of the peck or bite. Snake went along singing his claws and gnaw song, and Frog went along singing his peck or bite song. When they met each other along the way, they had never met each other before. So, of course, they stared at one another. And then Frog said, "Who are you? Are you a peck or bite?" And Snake said, "No, I'm Snake, called by my mama Snake's son. I'm slick, and I'm slithery." "Who are you? Are you a claws and gnaws?" Frog said, "No, I'm Frog, called by my mama, Frog Child. I'm hip, and I'm happy." And then they stared at each other. And then it happened. It happened just like this. Both of them said the exact same thing at the exact same time. They said, "You don't look a thing like me." Now, it may be true that they were different, but they both knew what to do when you say the same thing at the same time. Do you? They hugged each other, closed their eyes and sang, "You wish, you wish, I wish, you wish too. May your wish and my wish both come true." Each made a wish. And then they went and then opened their eyes. And Frog said, "Hey, Snake, come on, let's play." Snake said, "Play? Play? Why, that's exactly what I wish. Come, let's play in the bush." And Frog said, In the bush, if you go with me, we can play in the bush, because my mama said not to go in the bush by myself." So off they went. And they rushed into the bush, and they began to play one game after the other. And then finally Frog said to Snake, "Hey, Snake, watch this. Can you do this, Snake? Can you do the frog hop?" And then Frog crouched down low, popped himself up in the air, did a double, triple somersault, and landed, whop. on his belly. Snake slithered over to a mound of dirt, slithered up the side of that slope, and then lifted himself up onto the tip of his tail, tossed himself up into the air, and came down, plop, in a big pile of coils. But it didn't matter. He just got up and laughed and tried it again, because that's what you do, right? You always try it again. You don't ever stop after the, what? First time. So he did it again and again, and then sometimes he and Frog would hop up in the air at the same time, and sometimes they would collide in midair, but it was okay, because they were having what? Fun. And then after a while, Snake said to Frog, "Hey, Snake, hey, Frog, can you do this? Can you do the snake slither?" And then Snake stretched himself out on the top of that mound of dirt, and then he went swoosh down that slippery slope on his stomach. Frog got up there, plopped himself down on his belly, and he went squirming down with his arms and legs flailing in the air. Sometimes they were down together, and sometimes they get all tangled up, but it didn't matter, because they were having what? Fun. They were having fun. Oh, they just played and played. They had the best time. And as the day went on, pretty soon they were best buds. But then you know how it is, how the saying goes, when you're having fun, time just seems to. So the sun began to go down, and each one remembered his promise to his mama that he would be back home before dark. Frog said to Snake, "Bye, Snake. I like you." And Snake said to Frog, "Bye, Frog. You're my best friend." And then it happened again. Both of them said exactly the same thing at the same time. "Yeah, let's play again tomorrow." And then, of course, they had to do it all over again. They hugged each other, closed their eyes, and sang it. "You wish, I wish you wish too. May your wish, my wish, both come true." They made a wish and went on their way home. Frog slithering and Snake hopping all the way. When Frog got home, Frog knocked on the door. Mama Frog recognized her frog child's knock right away, and she opened up that rock door. But Mama Frog was shocked and amazed when her baby boy came slithering across the floor. Mama Frog was not amused, and she said, "Frog child, where have you been? What have you been doing all day? You look an absolute mess. You're covered with dirt and sticks. You look just like you've come out of the bush." And Frog said, "I did, Mama, but I wasn't in the bush by myself. I was with my new best friend, Mama. Oh, and he showed me some fun tricks. Let me show you, Mama." And then he went over to the edge of the floor, plopped himself down on the floor, and then he went wriggling across the floor with his arms and legs wailing and flailing in the air. Mama Frog said, "Frog child, what kind of friend taught you that? You get up from there right now. Who is it that you have been?" This was certainly not a good frog boy. "Who have you been playing with all day?" And Frog said, "Oh, Mama, his name is Snake Son. He's so much fun." Mama Frog said, "Frog child, did you say Snake Son?" And Frog said, Yeah, Mama. What's the matter?" Mama Frog trembled and turned a pale shade of green. She had to sit down to keep from fainting. When she recovered herself, she said, "Come here, Frog child. Listen to your mama very carefully." And then she pulled him close, and she said, "Frog child, Snake is a member of the snake family, and they are bad people. You stay away from that snake. Don't you ever go near that snake again." Frog said, "But bad people, Mama?" And Frog's mama said, snakes are sneaks. They hide poison in their tongues, and they will crush you in their coils. If you ever find yourself near a snake again, you hop as far away from him as you can and get up from there. Stop that slithering foolishness. That's not a game for frogs. Frog didn't quite understand, but he had to follow his mama's advice anyhow. Well, by this time, Snake gets home. Snake is rustling through the leaves, and Mama Snake, of course, recognizes her son's rustle, and she opens up the vine latch. But Mama Snake, too, is shocked and amazed when her boy comes hopping across the floor. I'm hungry, Mama. What's there to eat? Mama Snake says, where have you been, Snake son? Why, look at you. You are all out of breath and you're wheezing. What have you been doing all day? Where have you been? Snake son said, I've been in the bush playing with my new friend, my new best friend. Mama, let me show you this trick. He taught me. He's so cool, Mama. And then Snake son went over and he hopped up on the table, tossed himself into the air, turned down, came down, twisted himself in the table and the stools and all of it. Mama Snake says, what kind of friend taught you such a game as that, Snake son? That's not a game for you. You keep that up and you will surely break every bone in your back. Y'all didn't get that, huh? Who is this friend that you've been playing with, Snake son? And Snake son said, oh, Mama, his name is Frog Child. Frog Child. He's so cool, Mama. Mama Snake said, did you say Frog Child? And Mama Snake's mouth fell open and her fangs showed. Snake son, do you mean you've been playing with a frog all day and you come home hungry? And Snake said, well, Frog was hungry too. We play so hard, Mama, he was hungry too. Mama Snake said, come here, Snake son, curl yourself up here by your mama, unless you listen very carefully to what I have to say. Snake son curled himself up and Mama Snake began to give him some advice. Mama Snake said, Snake son, it is a tradition in the snake family to eat frogs. They are delicious people. Snake said, oh, Mama, I can't eat frog. Frog is my friend. And Mama Snake said, nonsense. Why, that is unnatural for frogs and snakes to be friends. If you have the chance again, Snake son, to play with that frog, you romp and play all you like. But when you get hungry, the game is up. You catch that frog and you eat him. But Mama, do you understand, Snake son? And though he didn't really, he too agreed with his mama. Next morning early, Snake son got up. He couldn't wait to go and play again with his friend Frog in the bush. He did so look forward to another day of play with his friend, but this day he also looked forward to, at the end of the day's play, feasting upon his fine frog friend. Snake slithered off into the bush, and he waited as the sun rose high and high in the air, but Frog did not come. After a while, Snake went to find him in his frog house, his rock house down by the pond. Snake got there, and he knocked on the door and called inside and said, anybody home? And Frog answered, just me, Frog Child. Snake asked, can you come out outside and play? And Frog said, oh, not today. Well, can I come inside and play with you? And Frog answered, no, I don't think so, because my mama's not home, and my mama said not to let anybody in when she's not here. Snake said, "My mother has taught me a new game, and I sure would like to teach it to you." And Frog said, "I bet you would." And Snake said to him, "You don't know what you're missing." And Frog said, "But I know what you're missing." Snake then answered and said, "Oh, Frog, I can see that your mother has given you some advice. My mother has given me advice as well." And then Snake slithered away. Since that time, Frog and Snake have never played together, even though neither one ever found another friend with whom they had so much fun. But if you find them today, you will find them distant and apart, often silent, basking in the sun. Some say, sometimes wondering, what would have happened if they had just kept on playing and nobody ever said anything. Before I moved to Texas, we lived in Evansville, Indiana, which was southern Indiana. I was a Head Start storyteller, and I told stories for Evansville and the surrounding areas. One day I went to a little place called Mount Vernon. I can just say this, there wasn't a lot of diversity among the population. That sounded like somebody from Evansville back there. So I got there a little early that day, which was unlike it for me. And the children were having lunch, and I tried to be discreet, went and sat down away from them. And this little boy, about 5 years old, long blonde-haired boy, stands up and says, "My daddy don't like black people." I said, "Oh, okay," and turned around and again tried not to engage with him. He took a couple of more bites out of his hot dog, and he got up again and he said, "My daddy don't let black people ride my bicycle." And I'm pretty sure I said, "Oh, is that right?" And by this time, one of the teachers comes and whisks him away. When it was finally time for story time, the little boy insisted on sitting in my lap. Sat there for the duration of story time. In fact, I thought I had to peel him off me to leave. I have thought about that boy over the years, wondered what happened to him, wondered what difference it had made that his daddy had expressed his dislike for black people, wondered what difference, if any, it had made that this black woman had come to tell him stories one day. Martin King, when he was 3 years old, had a best friend until he was 6 years old, a little white boy whose daddy owned the store in the neighborhood. But when they got 6 years old and went to school, different schools, the little boy's daddy said he couldn't play with him anymore. Martin says it was the first time he realized that he was different. His first inclination was to hate, but we all know that the story didn't end there. But thinking about these stories caused me to write these few words. We used to play together every day, but then something happened, and it's no longer that way. We were just fine playing colorblind till somebody else got in the way with their something to say, said we had to only play with our own kind. Wish we could still just laugh and play, see the good and the beauty in one another, and not worry about what anybody else has to say. Perhaps we can again someday. We can try anyway.